The Angel of Indian Lake is the third book of Stephen Graham Jones's slasher trilogy. If you're unfamiliar, it is about Jade Daniels. In the first book, she is a young high schooler who has a lot of trauma, so she sort of isolates herself and dives into the deep lore of slasher cinema. So she found A Bay of Blood in the discount bin and fell in love with Mario Bava's murder mystery sort of giallo film, and then decided to gorge on every slasher movie ever made, and like all the, not just the killers, but like the victims and the years they were made. And of course, she lives in Proof Rock, Idaho, a really dirt water small town, and where she thinks that a new family moving into town might have something to do with some killings. So the first book is like a slasher deconstruction of the slasher. The second one's the same, and then the third one is sort of ties all the narrative loose threads together, which I really liked. So time skip. Jade is now no longer Jade. She is Miss Daniels because she is a history teacher for the high school. She's got some hookups from Latha, who's really powerful now with money and influence, and now she's an ally of that, and she's also sort of godmother to AD, and just wants to live a normal life. She wants to be a teacher. She has a good bond with her students, and she just wants to sort of get by doing as little as possible to do with the sort of slasher stuff that's been plaguing her for her 2 stints in prison. However, of course, the killings start again, and she gets roped into it one more time because, not because she cares herself, she could just leave town on a bus at any time, but she wants to keep her job, she wants to keep her friends close because Latha and Banner are now, they have a kid together, and they're building a house over on Terra Nova, so she wants to stay around for them, of course, and be a productive member of the community and society. However, she gets roped into a new, villain of sorts, the Angel of Indian Lake, which is the name of the book. So this book overall, without getting into the plot details, is a bit overplotted. There's a lot going on. They sort of shove a lot of stuff into the plot. There's some great new dynamics between Jade and her students, and there's also the antagonist that gets introduced. There's also some surprises that get thrown in here and there. There's a lot going on, and I kind of felt like I felt like the book was a little bit scattershot. There's so much stuff going on, and the ending is fine. I just kind of feel like there was just too much going on. They should have picked a certain number of plot threads and just sort of stuck with those. Instead, it feels really scattershot. There's just a lot of things happening, way too many things happening, and there's still some thrilling moments. I noticed that this book actually stops referencing slashers as much, and also sort of references everything in terms of cinema, all horror films, which makes sense because if you're a huge fan of slasher movies, there's a big choice, a big chance that you're probably going to be a big fan of just horror cinema in general. So you'd be a fan of horror films and probably thriller films or psychological thrillers, and you probably do the occasional palate cleansing with like a kids movie. So it makes sense that you'd be a fan of cinema in general if you're a fan of slashers. So the book definitely references a lot of just normal horror films. Jade says that one of her favorites that she never got to watch as a kid is The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and there's a lot of good-looking people in that movie, so that was a nice addition to the lore. And there's some time skips, so Jade is kind of a different person. She's still a chain smoker, but she's also got a pill addiction and a lot of things going around like that. She's in therapy, and there's also investigation by a lawyer and stuff like that. So overall, pretty interesting, entry in the trilogy. Probably the weakest in my opinion. I like the first one the best. This one just had too much going on and sort of should have boiled it down a little bit more. But it's still an entertaining read, especially because it's the third of a trilogy, and I wanted to take it down. So I give The Angel of Indian Lake a 3 out of 5.